Hi everyone, welcome to another video. In today's video, I will be talking about my study abroad experience in Chennai, India that I had in 2012. The reason why I'm making this video is because I want to encourage someone out there to study abroad. Studying abroad in India changed my life forever, and because I studied abroad in India, I am now representing my country overseas. I learned so much during my study abroad trip in India. It was the first time that I spent a significant amount of time away from the United States living in another country. So in this video, I'll talk about my impressions, how I afforded study abroad, and some of the things that I did while I was in India. But before we begin, make sure you smash the like button so we can help other people be encouraged to study abroad, and subscribe if you're new here. Welcome. All right, let's get started. So why did I choose to study in India? I chose to study in India for several different reasons. One of the main reasons why I chose India as my study abroad location is because I wanted to experience something that was completely different. I didn't want to experience anything that was similar to the United States. I wanted a complete different experience than what I was living in, than what I was experiencing in the United States. Another reason why I chose to go to India was because my school had a partnership with a study abroad organization. The study abroad organization allowed me to travel all throughout India. It worked financially, which I will touch on later in this video. And it allowed me to have an internship in India, which was really, it just gave me a more rich experience than if I did not have an internship. So those are the reasons why I decided to study in India. So what were my impressions of India? So in the beginning, it was just me and 3 other women from the United States. We were all from different parts of the United States, and I'm still friends with them till this day. But when we got to India, we were in complete culture shock. Now you just heard me tell you all that I wanted something completely different from the United States, and that exactly is what I got when I got to India. Everything was different. I mean, everything. I had extreme culture shock for at least the first week when I was in India. And I remember thinking with my roommates, I was like, oh, did I make a mistake? You know, is this the right place for me? But let me just tell you, if you're studying abroad or if you're abroad now and you're having a difficult time, like, just stick with it, because at the end of my experience in India, the end of those 4 months, I absolutely loved my experience in India. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I remember my mom called me and she asked me, she was like, Chelsea, are you ready to come home? And I was like, no, please, how do I extend my experience here, because I absolutely loved it. In terms of culture shock, I experienced all the kinds of different things. I took bucket baths, the heat. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and in January it's cold, and so as soon as we went over to India, it was like in the 80s already. So the next clip is, where did I go? So when I was in India, I traveled every other weekend. I absolutely loved my experience. We had an amazing resident director who would come and pick us up, and like we would go to different parts of India like every other weekend. We went to Kerala where we rode in a houseboat, or we went to New and Old Delhi and I saw the Taj Mahal, or I went to Hyderabad, or I saw the temples in the south. Or I saw the temples in southern India, or I visited Pondicherry, which is in the south of India, and I learned how to make southern Indian cuisine, and it was just an amazing time. Why was India such a unique experience? India was such a unique experience. I do not regret my study abroad experience. I wish that I can give like the gift of study abroad to everyone watching this video. In addition to taking classes on Indian politics, Indian history, women's role in society, I had an internship at a women's rights organization in a rural part of India, and it was exceptional. Without that internship experience, I think my experience in India would have been great, but it just added more richness and juiciness to my experience. It focused on education in India, and I just had a really eye-opening experience. I was able to interview domestic violence survivors in their homes. I shadowed a lawyer, and I got to see Indian court proceedings. I led workshops on hygiene, on education for the women and children in this rural part of India that I was in. And every Tuesday and Thursday, I just looked forward to it so much because it just gave me a more deeper, rich experience of Indian culture, of Indian history and politics that I would not have received just in the textbook alone. Another reason why India was a really unique experience was because while I was there, I was with the 3 other American women. I was just us 4, but we did not have any contact with any people from Western society or any foreigners. And we were with us 4 the whole time and our Indian classmates, and that was really cool. I hung out with people from India I hung out with my Indian classmates all the time, and that also helped me to get a deeper understanding and appreciation of India. And the last thing is that I spent a significant amount of time in India. It was the first country away from the United States that I spent a significant amount of time. And what was my favorite? One of my favorite parts about India was the food. So the next clip is, how did I afford to study in India? So like I mentioned before, my school had a partnership with a study abroad organization. And so the way it worked was that if I studied in India, I would have been paying the same price to study in India as if I were to study at my school in Pennsylvania. And so why not go experience and live in another country if I'm effectively paying the same thing? And the cool thing that this study abroad organization gave me when I was in India was that I also had a stipend included, which I was able to use the stipend to buy souvenirs, buy food, and I used it when I traveled around India. One other thing that I want to highlight is that my school, all the scholarships that my school gave me that were applied to me every semester, that also applied to my semester in India. So those scholarships carried over. So when I was in India, I was able to use the scholarship that I had been using in years prior. Another way that I afforded my study abroad experience in India was that I won an internal scholarship that my school provided. I wrote an essay, I had a panel interview, and I won money that allowed me to buy a plane ticket to go to India. And so I'm very grateful for that. One thing that I do regret was not applying for the Benjamin Gilman Scholarship. If you qualify for that and you're thinking about studying abroad, be sure to apply for that scholarship and be sure to apply early in the semester when you don't have a lot of things going on in that semester. I remember that when I decided to apply for the Gilman Scholarship, I just had so many things during that semester going on that I just didn't have time to apply for it, and I essentially left money on the table if I were to have won it. The third way that I afforded my study abroad experience in India was that I worked at the movies all throughout college, and I also worked other side jobs while I was in college, and I put that money aside for my study abroad opportunity in India. And also my parents have also helped me as well. Another thing that I want to highlight about how I was able to afford my study abroad experience in India was that at the time, the cost of living was really affordable. I could afford a lot of things while I was in India because the cost of living was really, really affordable. And this helped especially because I was a student. All right, I hope you enjoyed my look back on my study abroad experience in India. India changed my life, and if you're watching this video, I encourage you to study abroad if you get the opportunity to. You never know where that study abroad experience will take you. I highly encourage that. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and just know that let's travel with our dreams together. Until next time, Chelsea.